Very good morning all of you. In the previous video, as we have already discussed about the programming concepts in C++, the basic concepts what it requires while writing a C++ code, already we have discussed in the previous video. Today, we are going to start the new concept, that is flow of control. Actually, first of all, you should know why flow of control is required. As all of you know, while writing some C++ code for any program, the execution of the program is from top to bottom. Means execution, the control will flow from top to bottom. The execution begins from top to bottom. If while checking or executing that program, if any errors get encountered, that what correction or modification that program requires, that user will perform with the help of, means what the idea or what the knowledge is, basic error correction and detection that provided by the C language or C++ language, then the error correction and detection will be get removed, and then compilation of the program will conduct. Once the compilation of the program is over, then we will go for execution. So before execution, that compilation, during that compilation only, the errors may get encountered, errors may get occurred. It's not sure, it's not guaranteed that the errors will get occurred. It may be, there may be a chance, might be. Suppose the programmer has written, suppose the programmer is expert in the coding part, then maybe very less chance would be there that there may be the occurrence of the errors get encountered. Anyway, means while writing some code, while writing some program, there may be a chance that error may get occurred. For novice user, for new user like you students, as when you learn to write some code for any program, for any programming language, for any program, initially you will face lot of problems. Initially you will get, or you may do lot of mistakes. So slowly it will be enhanced, slowly, gradually it will be increased. As you are getting fascinated with that programming language, then there may be one time will come that you will become expert in that programming language. So, means what you require to do, what the basic concepts that programming language they have, at least you must have to come across with the basic concepts through which the coding of the program becomes very easy to write. Means once if you don't have the good idea or good grip on basics, then you won't be in position to write some good program or good code. So in this video we will see the flow of control, how it's flowing during the execution of the program, during the compilation of the program, during the running of the program. So under this flow of control, basically it is classified into two types. That is, first one is selection control statement, and next one, second one is iteration statement or looping statement. In selection control statements, we have different statements like if statement, if else statement, nested if statement, conditional operator statement and switch statement. These all statements comes under flow control of or selection control statement. And next, iteration statements or looping statement. This iteration statement also called as looping statements. Under these statements we have that is for statement and while statement and do while statements. So as already come across the different selection control statements and different iteration statements. So under the selection control statements we will see one by one what is the functionality, why we require to write that statement, why we need to write that statement, and what is the use of that statement. So first statement we have that is if statements. As if you are new with the programming language, means you are trying to learn that programming language, you are not listen or such kind of statements like computer programming related statements or programming features or programming different programming concepts. So one as gradually you will move in different part of the programming languages, then one by one everything you will learn under that programming language. So if a statement here actually is its name itself indicating if a statement means there may be a chance that there is one condition, and by using that condition that user or programmer has to write or use that statement, and it will check the condition whether if that condition is true, then the control will execute or control will switch or transfer from that statement to the other statements, and then execution starts. If the statement is false, then control automatically it will be terminated, it will be switched off, or like this it will be jump from there, and then the execution stops there, and then finally the output of the program will be displayed on your monitor. Means what all messages or what all output it will be get reflected on your screen. So under this if statement actually means why if statement is required. If statement it is a selection statement through which there is and it is why we are using that if statement. It is a selection statement and that associated and selection statements, and that is used to associate and associated statements will be get executed through the use of selection statements if the condition is true. Right now I have said to you, if the condition is true, then the execution part or then the execution of the program is execute that program, and then the output and the result of the program will be displayed on the monitor. So while using that if statements have some syntax. So in every statement, while using that statements, every statement having some syntax. According to that syntax, you have to write that statement. You have to use that statement while you are doing some coding, while you are writing some program. According to that syntax, only that program or syntax only that statement should be get used. So if the statement syntax it is if bracket condition and next statements. This is the syntax, this is the proper syntax of the if statement. And this if statement here, the if keyword and next condition, if some condition is coming, and that condition will be get tested, that condition will be get written there, and then next after checking the condition, the statements, means what statements they have or that program may have, that statements will be written there, will be mentioned there. And if means what is if? Actually if is nothing but it's a keyword, which is keyword, as already I have discussed about keyword. Already all of you have get an idea what is keyword, why do we use that keyword. So keyword means it's if is a keyword, and condition means any arithmetic, logical or relational operators, means relational conditions, relational value are using, comes under this conditional statement. And next after conditional statements, the statement is there. The statement means any C and C++ valid statements, valid single statement or single, that statement might be a single or compound statements you can use. Programmer or user can use that statement. Maybe that statement might be the single statement or compound statement. So this is the proper syntax, this is the proper use of the if statements. Why do we move or why do we use the if statements? While using that if statements, as we will initialize, as we will apply that if statements, then we will check the condition, whether that if that condition, after providing that condition, next statement is defined, statement is written there. So that statement might be a single statement or compound statement. So if we are writing that single statement, we are writing that means according to the requirements of the program, we can write, we can mention there the statements. As while we will start to execute that code, during the execution of the program, that control will check the every conditions, every statements line by line. It's multiple software. Actually, as all of you have to get a basic idea, internal architecture, actually we all guys should not be get aware, we should not be get involved with the internal architecture of the program, how the execution of the program is getting performed. So overall, at least you have to get some idea. There is some compiler, there is some assembler, linker, loader. Means that's a different thing. That's a different concept in programming language or in computer system. So you should not have to get involved in those concepts. So later on, means when you are our class, our time permit us, just we will discuss about the all other things or additional things which that computer system requires. So by the way, at least we should have to come across associated with our program, means what it requires that program to execute, means what operating system does. So we should not be get worried about the internal architecture, means how the execution performed, means how the functionality of the different hardware, different software, different chips, ICs, etc. So many things are. So while running or while executing one program or while executing any statements, so many functions, so many ICs, so many hardware, so many softwares are getting involved to solve that problem, solve that query. So you should not be so worried, you should not be so get frustrated. What your motive is, what your intention is, how to use the different statements, how to use the multiple iteration and conditional statement also, selection control statements also. So this is the way, this is the process, this is the syntax through which we can use the if statements. So actually all of you have get an idea about the if statements, right? Okay, means once we will write on the basis of that if statements, if we will write some program, some code, then we will get the more idea, clear idea, means how if we are using that if statement, how it's working, how it's getting the output, how it's taking the input like that, and its execution. Once the errors will be get occur encountered, then you will also get the good idea. Okay, means here I was doing some mistake, I was making some mistakes here, and so if once you correct that statements, once you correct that code, then execution of the program will be get executed. So this is how the statements we are using, the if statements we are executing the program, and we are using it. So further more statements we have, and one by one we have to learn the different statements. Once we will come across the if statements, different statements, then we will move to the looping statements. Then after completion of this, almost all the basic concepts just we have come across, we have already covered. So we will be in position to write a good program. Means once we will write some program, then we will have get a better idea, good idea. Okay, thank you.